Now that you're a little bit more familiar with the color wheel and how you can use it to come up with different color schemes for a work of art, you're going to use the color wheel, your colored pencils, your markers. I'll let you choose. You can use one or both for this practice. And I would also like for you to get your patterned papers out of your art kit. These will help with inspiration, and you can look at them for ideas for different patterns or color schemes. We will be using these in addition to some of the patterns that you come up with today for our project next week, which I think you'll really enjoy learning about the artist. That's our inspiration. So to get started, go ahead and get those materials out. And then I would also get one or two practice papers out of your sketchbook. I'm going to start with one for now, and we can build from there if you end up wanting to do more. So here we go. Let's get started. To help myself understand color, I made myself a color wheel so that I can reference it as I'm working. You can make one on the inside of your sketchbook cover if you'd like. Then I folded my paper into quarters and looked through my pattern paper for inspiration. Again, you can use colored pencil, marker, or both, depending on what type of effect and how bold you want your colors to be. I like colored pencils because you can have a wider variety of color by overlapping the colors. Here I'm making a yellow-green by laying down yellow using the wider part of my pencil instead of the point and holding further back so that I'm not applying too much pressure and I can get a nice even surface. I really like the texture on this particular paper, so I'm going to try to mimic that texture by creating a visual texture or pattern by using the marker to create the recessed areas of the patterned part of the paper. What I like about markers is that they give you a nice bold, crisp line. So this is great if you want to add emphasis in a particular area. Remember that every time you get finished with a marker, put it back in the box. Next, I chose another pattern paper. This time I used it for color inspiration. Again, I'm using my colored pencils for more subtle colors. I can always overlap over the same area with my colored pencil if I want that color to appear a little bit darker. It also helps to go over the same area a couple of different directions to help smooth out any marks that you make. Again, feel free to use a mix of colored pencils and markers, or even crayons if you have those at home, to get the effect that you want for your color scheme. You can also look around the room for different patterns. Here I'm going to use the pattern as inspiration, but I'm going to use a complementary color scheme where the colors are opposite of each other on the color wheel. Since I want a nice bold line and yellow is a light color, I'm going to go ahead and make my first marks with marker and then fill in the background with the violet colored pencil. Violet's just another word for purple. Some of the colored pencils are kind of hard to tell what color they are just by looking at them, so make sure that you read the label before you make any marks. Here I'm going to go pretty slow. I have the video sped up, so it looks like I'm coloring in very quickly. But just like when I'm coloring things in with marker, I like to go around the spaces that I don't want to add color first. That way it kind of gives me a mental stopping point so I know not to color over top of the yellow. I like the boldness of the purple and the yellow next to each other, but I chose colored pencil because I wanted it to be more of a subtle purple as opposed to a really bold purple. Your patterns can be made up of organic or geometric shapes. That's up to you. I'm using this particular piece of paper as pattern inspiration, but again, I'm going to come up with my own color scheme. I wanted my last pattern to have mostly bold colors, so I'm using only marker. Notice I'm going around the spaces that I don't want to accidentally go over top of first before I'm filling in. Sometimes when you're filling in a lot of space at one time, you might need to rotate your marker or give it a little break. When you're all finished, make sure you put the lid back on the marker and put it back in the box. Once this is complete, go ahead and take a picture of your image and upload it into Schoology.